My name is Edurne Rubio. I'm a Spanish artist, but I'm living in Brussels. Ojovareña makes part of what I call in my house the cave project. Then I started my father was a speleologist. I accompanied him when I was a child, and I spent all my weekends and holidays next or inside the caves with him and with my mother also. And suddenly, like 5 years ago, I visited the cave where I was when I was a child. It's Ojovareña, and a lot of things happened in my mind. I realized a lot of things about my way of work. Then I decided to do a project about this cave and about this speleologist. From the very beginning, I wanted to talk about the cave as a space of freedom, as a shelter, not from a physical danger, but a place where they were really free. In the case of my father, my family, and his friends, they were able to talk about things and express themselves inside the cave in a way that they could never do outside in the daily life outside of the cave. Then for me, it was very interesting and point of start for the project, this idea of you enclose yourself physically into a space, in this case the cave, to open your mind, to be able to be free and to learn, because they were learning there. Because otherwise they cannot share things and share knowledge about what was happening outside. Then for me it was very clear that I wanted to talk about this shelter. Yeah, I think in Spain the dictatorship is still a taboo. Here is a taboo, but it's also because the dictatorship followed the civil war, and the civil war was horrible, a horror moment, and something that created a real trauma. And the trauma of killing in between people living together and being friends or familiars was silenced by the dictatorship that followed the civil war. Then for 40 years, all the feelings that people had were completely silenced. Then when democracy arrived, it was far away, but at the same time very close to us. And then people suddenly didn't know how to deal with that. I was very moved when I hear the title, because first of all, of course, there is a very special moment. I think it's the more emotional moment in the film. I would not like to spoil the film, but indeed there is a moment that is incredible. I'm asking my father, you were singing here, what kind of songs you were singing? And suddenly he was in the middle of a very big gallery with an incredible echo, and he started to sing a song that is just incredible, a political song. And it was a very emotional moment, and we recorded that moment, and I didn't expect to have a so strong moment. Then, and the image is just a dark image with a little light. My father has a little light in the helmet, and we see only the light of his helmet and a little bit of the shadow of his body. Then when I hear the title, of course, I was thinking of this moment I recorded.
¿Los gallos no se los oído?
No sé. ¿Cuál es? No sé cuál es.
Cuando canta el gallo negro, cuando canta el gallo negro, es que está muriendo el día.
Cuando canta el gallo negro, es que ya se acaba el día.
Si cantara el gallo rojo, otro gallo cantaría. Ya no canto bien, ¿eh?
Si cantara el gallo rojo, otro gallo cantaría. Ay, si es que yo miento, que el cantar que yo canto lo borra el viento. Ay, qué desencanto, si me borrara el viento lo que yo canto.
I wanted to share this hope on finding a way to escape without not going anywhere. But I had this very big feeling with doing the film, also because, as I said, I wanted to talk about this space of freedom during the dictatorship in the cave. This is a work I'm doing for several years now, and I don't like to repeat myself and to do again and again something, but in this case I'm doing because I love to do it. And also because each time an institution asks me to do a DESDE for this institution, open the possibility to talk about very different things. I made also a DESDE, for example, in La Laboral. It's a huge school, always former school in the north of Spain. Then it became an art cultural center, and it was a big project of Franco, the dictator, the Spanish dictator, and thousands of children without means studied there for becoming mechanic, because at that moment in Spain industry started and they needed mechanic. Then I made a Thursday in this place, and that allowed me to talk about Franco, about childhood, about education, about work. We had the plan together that I go to Sao Paulo and to visit the former MAC, the MAC from now, how it's now, to meet people that place. Knows what happened, and I would not go to Sao Paulo this year. But I started to work with the people through internet and making interviews with people who talk about the former MAC, Umaki, with the internet, no? And it was very interesting because suddenly they were in their houses and I was in my house, and we were talking about a place, a moment that has disappeared, no? Because the MAC exists, of course, but the MAC of the 70s is not anymore there. Then we were talking about something completely disappeared and very far away from me, from my culture, from my knowledge. It is a very extreme approach because I don't know a lot. I didn't know a lot about Brazilian history, and I didn't know a lot about the MAC. Then I'm learning, and during all the COVID, it was like I was in Brazil, not in Brussels, but in Brazil. Yeah, and something interesting that happened also for me, it was I discovered that at that moment in the 70s, because of the lack of possibilities and because of the dictatorship, um, the artists in Sao Paulo were kind of isolated, and they had no the possibility of having artists from outside to come as they do like. And then they were using a lot the mail art, like a way of having communication with other artists in all over the world. Then it's incredible the work they made through this mailing work. Yeah, I thought, okay, we are isolated now. We are not able to travel. Let's try to use this mail art that, of course, has been transformed completely from then to now. What I'm trying to do is create a collective memory or a collective story, because it is collective. It becomes history in a way, because something happened. There is a place. There are people living in this place, and what makes the story of this place is not only one part of the people. All the persons that are inhabiting this place make this place, or make this moment of the history. All these different points of view and all of the different perspectives make a whole, make of contradictions, make of differences, and that give a real image of the place in a way, because you don't forget anything out.
Vous demandez? Ok.
The first time I used sound in this way, I was making interviews with video. I started recording the interviews with the people. But then when I started to edit, I got very frustrated, because what I liked when I was making the interview is to be able to see what they were describing. This moment when I was being able to see something that it was not in front of mine, through the words of this person. Then I decided to do a test and to take out the image, and suddenly it was again this mental image that they were describing. I'm very interested in this temporality, in this is not present but is not past. Something is happening again and again.